All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about something that, let's be honest, affects all of us: how to actually remember what we study. If you're ready to totally transform your study habits and finally make learning stick, then you're in the right place. Let's get to it.
You know the feeling, right? You spend hours, maybe even days, reading, highlighting, making these perfect, color-coded notes, and then when the test comes, it's just gone. Poof. It is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. You put the work in, but the results just aren't there. So what is going on?
Well, here's the core of the problem. Most of us were taught to study in a way that feels super productive, but it's not. That's passive review. Just rereading and highlighting feels comfortable. It feels familiar. But the big problem is that it creates what scientists call fool's confidence. You recognize the material, sure, but you can't actually pull it out of your brain when you need it. The real solution? It's something called active recall. Yeah, it feels harder, but it's what actually forges those strong, lasting memories.
I love this analogy because it just puts it all into perspective. Think about it. You would never, ever expect to pass your driving test by just reading the rule book over and over again, right? Of course not. You have to actually practice driving. Well, learning is the exact same thing. You can't ace an exam by just rereading your notes. You have to practice retrieving that information, pulling it out of your brain, just like you'll have to on the test itself.
So, let's break this down. What exactly is this game-changing technique, active recall?
At its heart, active recall is beautifully simple. It's the act of closing the book, looking away from your notes, and asking yourself, okay, what do I actually know? Instead of just letting information passively flow in, you are actively forcing it to come out. And that process, that active retrieval, is what strengthens the connections in your brain, making the memories stronger and stronger each time you do it.
And this brings us to a really crucial mindset shift. Doing active recall, it can feel tough. It can feel really uncomfortable, even exhausting. But that feeling of strain, that's not a sign you're failing. That's the sign that you're building mental muscle. It's just like a hard workout at the gym. The effort is exactly what leads to those real, tangible results.
Okay, so knowing the what is great, but the how is where this gets really practical. And the good news is, this isn't about one single boring method. It's a whole toolkit you can play with and adapt to your own style. And as you can see, there are so many ways to do this. You can go with classic flashcards, you can try to create a mind map completely from memory, or even just record yourself explaining a topic out loud. Two of the most powerful ones here are trying to teach the concept to somebody else, because that really forces you to understand it, and the blank page technique. You just grab a sheet of paper and write out everything you can possibly remember. The key is to get creative and find what clicks for you.
Now, if you want to get really systematic with your flashcards, you can build them into what's called the Lightner system. It's just a brilliant way to organize everything. Any concepts you're struggling with, they stay in box 1, so you review them all the time. But the stuff you master, that moves to other boxes that you review less and less often. It's a really simple, physical way to kind of automate the process of focusing on your weak spots.
So, we've covered the what and the how, but there is one more crucial piece to this puzzle: the when. And this is where the second half of our learning power duo comes in.
And this is not a new idea. Get this. Way back in the 1880s, a psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus actually mapped out how quickly our brains forget new information. He created something called the forgetting curve, and it shows that without any kind of reinforcement, you can forget more than half of what you just learned in a single day. The moment you walk out of that lecture hall, the clock starts ticking.
So how do we fight this natural human tendency to forget? Well, we use spaced repetition. It's a simple but incredibly powerful idea. By reviewing information at just the right moments, at increasing intervals over time, you literally interrupt that forgetting curve. You're signaling to your brain, hey, this is important, keep it, and you transfer that knowledge into your long-term memory. It's the principle that makes that Lightner box system so effective. And here's what that might look like in practice. You learn something new on day 1. Then, instead of cramming it again the next day, you wait a couple of days. Then you wait a little longer, then even longer. Each time you successfully remember something, you can stretch that interval out, cementing that knowledge way more efficiently and for the long haul.
So now we have the tools. We have active recall and spaced repetition. Let's talk about the mindset, because this is how we bring it all together into a whole new way of thinking about learning.
If there is one single thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. If your studying feels easy, you're probably not doing it right. That mental strain, that discomfort you feel when you're trying to pull an answer out of your brain, that is not a sign that you're failing. That is the feeling of your brain forging new, stronger connections. You have to embrace that discomfort. It's the sign of deep learning in action.
And really, this table sums up the entire shift. The old way, just rereading, it feels easy, it feels familiar, but it gives you that false sense of security. The new way, active recall combined with spaced repetition, yeah, it feels hard, it feels uncomfortable, but that's what delivers deep, durable understanding. It's the difference between just recognizing something and truly knowing it.
At the end of the day, effective learning isn't just about filling a bucket with facts. It's about lighting a fire. It's about building a framework of knowledge that you can actually use and build on for the rest of your life. By using these strategies, you're not just studying harder, you're finally studying smarter. You're taking control. So the only question left is, how are you going to get started?